what's up you guys, it's Annie. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. So for today's video, we're doing things a little bit differently. This video is not so much focused on like analytical stuff or how to grow on YouTube. This video is much more like Q&A structured, basically answering all of you guys' questions about my managers, my management team, and overall just having a manager in general. So I basically posted on my Instagram story about a month ago letting you guys know that I now have a management team and that I'm now being represented by a manager, which led to a whole slew of questions. So I posted a question sticker on my Instagram story to basically let you guys ask me any and all questions you had about managers, what they do, how they help you, and all that sort of thing. So I have compiled a list of all of you guys' questions that I'm going to answer sort of like Q&A style. So I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I didn't want to like plan or outline the video. I wanted all my answers to be super like genuine and real. So in case this video is super long, I will have timestamps for every single question. So if there's anything in specific you want to know, you can then jump to that timestamp and hear just that question. So the first question is probably the most common one I got asked, which is what is a manager and what do they do for you? So that definitely depends on what kind of manager you have. So there are social media managers, there are brand managers. What I have is what's called a talent manager. So basically, just as the title makes it sound, they represent talent, whether that is a YouTuber, an athlete, a singer, an actor, literally any kind of talent. They are represented by a talent manager. So my managers basically do two different things for me. The first one is they manage my inbox. So if anybody emails me to work with me or ask me a question or contact me for any other reason, it is my management team that handles my email. Then the second thing is they get me all of my sponsorships and brand deals. So if there's a brand I want to work with, then I will let my team know I want to work with them, and then they handle all of the like communicating with the brand and the negotiating and all that stuff, and then come back to me with what is called a brief. So basically the brief says like they're offering you this much money to do this, mention this in the video. Do you want to accept this or reject their offer? And then vice versa, if the company wants to reach out to me, then again it goes through my managers, and my managers handle all the negotiating and all of that stuff. So basically the main thing my team does for me is they give me more time to focus on content creation and my channel by handling all of my like business stuff. That is basically what a talent manager is for. So then the next question I got a ton, which is, do you have to take every single sponsorship that is offered to you? And absolutely not. That is one of the very first things my team told me, is that if ever there is a brand deal that is offered to you and you don't want to take it, literally just say the word no and you don't have to take it. In fact, my manager actually texted me this morning and said, this company wants to work with you. This is what they're offering. This is how much money they're offering. They want you to do this. And I just had to tell her basically like, no, this company doesn't really align with me. I can't really see myself telling my audience honestly that I love this company, at which point I just passed on the offer and on to the next one. So no, definitely there is no pressure like you have to take 3 brand deals a month or anything like that. So then another very common one was, when is the right time / when should you look into management, and what made you decide now was the time? So it was kind of like a combination of things. I think one of the biggest ones is that my inbox was just getting so crazy and I was spending way too much time going through my emails. And then on the other side of things, where like business stuff and sponsorships and all that is concerned, I really have no expertise or experience in communications or social media management or any of that stuff. So just having somebody to do all of that for me and handle that for me gave me a lot of time, while also making sure everything was handled super professionally. So I think for me, deciding to actually get a manager came down to me realizing like, oh, like I need some help. So that is what made me decide it was time. So the next question is, how do you actually go about finding a manager? So there really isn't any one good or bad way to go about it. You could do a Google search for management teams. You could search for them on Instagram. Most of them have like Instagram or Twitter profiles. You could find them through LinkedIn. Basically how I went about it is I posted in a Facebook group of other like entrepreneurs and creators. So I basically created a post where I said like, I'm looking for help with this. If anybody knows of any managers or management teams that can help me, I would really appreciate being pointed in the right direction. Then one of my friends came back to me probably within like an hour or two of that post first going up, and then he immediately CC'd me on an email with the management team, and we got right into contact and talked right away. So there really isn't any like right or wrong way to do it, but for me that is how it happened. It was through a mutual contact. So then a super important question is, how do you know a manager is trustworthy / isn't scamming you? So unfortunately now, because a lot of creators are getting younger and younger, there are now more and more people who are out there to scam people or take advantage of that. So you have to be really careful who you trust and who you talk to and who you hire. So just like I do with all of my brand deals and sponsorships, I always research the companies ahead of time. So as soon as my friend mentioned the management company, I did a Google search to kind of look for their digital footprint. Do they have an Instagram account? Do they have a website? Are there any like reviews about them? Have they ever been in the news for something scandalous? And it was actually through doing my initial Google search that I learned that my management team is actually owned by a YouTuber. So that was one of the first real like check marks for me, is like, not only am I a YouTuber working with this team, but this team is actually owned and managed by a YouTuber. So I think definitely most importantly, when you are researching any kind of company or management team, always look for their digital footprint, and you really can't go wrong. So then the next question I got quite a bit also, which was definitely one of my questions going in from the beginning, which is how big of a following do you need to have to get a manager? Basically, do you have to have a certain amount of followers or subscribers, a certain amount of views per video? So definitely before picking this team, there were a ton of teams I met with and had phone calls with that told me like right off the bat, you have to have 100,000 subscribers, you have to have 1 million subscribers, you have to get like this amount of views per video, which just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way, and I was like, no thank you. And I remember during my first phone call with my managers, when I asked them that question, they actually laughed because they couldn't even believe there were other managers who had that as a requirement. So maybe there are some other like management companies that do have those requirements, but mine definitely doesn't, and I'm sure there are some others that don't have those as well. So then a big question, how much do you have to pay to have a manager, and how much percentage do they charge? So obviously I cannot speak for every manager or every other management company, but as far as mine goes, there is no like fee or like membership fee, any amount of money you have to pay to actually have the manager. How it works is they work on a commission basis. So basically every single time they get me a sponsorship or a brand deal, they take a certain percentage of the money I make because they got me the brand deal, they did all the like negotiations and communications. So basically I have like a rate that I charge for every single brand deal and sponsorship, and then before my team pays me the amount of money I made on the sponsorship, they take their little commission percentage of the money, and then I get direct deposit the rest of the money. So there's no like I have to pay them $15 an hour or I have to pay like $100 a month or anything like that. The only payment I have is the commission basis of all the brand deals that they get me. Again, I can't speak for every other manager, maybe some other companies work differently on a different basis, but for mine there's absolutely no fees or charges or anything. So then this question was actually really interesting, which is, do you prefer having a individual manager or management team? So honestly, at first I really thought that I would only ever want an individual solo manager and somebody I could work kind of like one-on-one with, but now that I'm working with a management team, there are like a lot, and I mean a lot of pros to having a team over one individual manager. So basically working with a management team, pretty much everybody on the team has different like expertises, different connections, different like contacts, and from what I can tell in the short time I've been with my management team, there are definitely a lot of pros to working on a team where everybody has something different to bring to the table. So I have definitely changed my mind, and I definitely prefer having a team over individual manager. So then a major question is, how do contracts work? So for most management companies, for pretty much every single company I've ever seen, there's a contract you have to sign when you join with them. And the contracts will vary from company to company, but I've pretty much never seen any company that didn't have a contract until I joined this team, which was a massive load off my shoulders because I have heard so many horror stories of like loopholes that have you stuck with a management team for like a year or 2 years that you can't get out of, or MCNs that had like hidden things in their contract that would take more money from you than you agreed to. So the second my manager said we don't use contracts, it was this massive load off my shoulders and a massive check mark. So the only contracts that my team uses is for individual sponsorships. So there is no contract I have to sign to actually be with my team, but for every individual sponsorship, there is a contract that states things like the terms of the contract and basically legally promising to pay my team a certain commission of the money that I make. And I have read every single contract over with a fine-tooth comb. There are no loopholes. I'm not being taken advantage of. Every single thing is really set to benefit both of us and also to protect both of us so that they can't take advantage of me and I can't take advantage of them. So as far as contracts go, I had no contracts going into working with my team, but I do have individual ones for each different sponsorship. So then another very common question was, how do you contact / go about approaching managers about working with them? So I think there was about 3 or 4 different teams and managers I had considered. I had sent emails to each one of them basically saying like, this is why I'm looking for a manager. Is this something you could help me with? Is this something we could work on together? I've also heard of other managers being hired through like LinkedIn or Upwork, which is also a very like professional way of getting a manager, but I definitely wouldn't suggest going through like Instagram DMs or something more like personal. I would definitely say something like email or LinkedIn that's much more professional, so that you come across as a much more like professional person who is quite serious about wanting to hire a manager. But definitely for me, email was the best way. So then this question I saved for last because to me this was the most important one, which is how do you know if they're the right fit for you? So definitely 110% when you are hiring on somebody as important as a manager, it is so important that you vibe with them, that they have the same values as you do, that you have a very good understanding between the two of you, and so important that you have a really good relationship. One of the first companies I ever spoke to that I considered working with, I felt like a business transaction from the get-go. The only thing they cared about was money, how much money I could bring them, what's my like ROI, return on investment, and I just like did not vibe with them. But then this company, when I got onto, I think it was about a 45-minute phone call, I vibed with them right away. We spent like 30 minutes just laughing our heads off. They obviously had the exact same values as me, the same ideas as me, and I honestly could not love my team more. I think out of everybody on my team, I probably talked to Megan the most. I think we text probably like every second day or so, and I love every single member of my team. So definitely when you are interviewing managers or getting onto phone calls or emails, the most important thing is, do you vibe with them? Do they agree with you? Do you share values and all of that kind of thing? So that for me is how I made my decision. So that, you guys, is it for this video and all of your questions. I hope those were some good enough answers for you. If you guys have any other questions I didn't cover in this video, feel free to comment them down below. I answer every single one of my comments, so if you have any questions, I will definitely answer them. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I love you all to the moon and back, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!